Okay, so this is a public meeting of the Berlin Conservation Commission. That's great. Occurring via Zoom webinar on May 20th, 2020, starting at 7:05 p.m. As a preliminary matter, please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other participants may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Okay. I'm confirming member access. This is John Aney, Chair of the Berlin Conservation Commission. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me prior to me calling the meeting to order. Okay, members and associate members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Carolyn McDonald. You have to unmute yourself, Carolyn. Carolyn?
Oh, I am unmuted.
Walter
Hello?
Bickford.
Yes,
Yeah, she's
here.
not muted.
I'm here.
Okay. Good. Louise Janda.
Here.
Louise. Good.
Yes,
Liz
here.
DeSierra, is she here?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Steve Beard.
Here.
Carol O'Connell.
Here.
Robin Berry.
Here.
Holly Kennedy DeGrudela.
Here.
And then Mary Arata is assisting with production. Okay. Anticipated speakers. Is Scott Morrison tuned in from Ecotech?
Let me make him, I can allow him to talk.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you,
good.
Mr. Morrison. We'll be getting back to you in about 25 minutes.
Thank you.
And Ashley Davies will join us. You're welcome. Ashley Davies will join us much later. She just texted me, so she's probably putting her kids to bed. With a quorum of the board present, I call this meeting to order at, I guess, at 7:07 p.m. on Wednesday, May 20th, 2020. This open meeting of the Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with the right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town Berlin website at www.townofberlin.com. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, provided reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. While no in-person attendance of members of the public is permitted, every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. The standard public comment portion of this meeting will accommodate limited public comment. For this meeting, the Conservation Commission is convening using the Zoom platform as posted on the agenda, identifying how the public may join. Meeting materials. The public is encouraged to follow along during this meeting using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. Supporting materials that are available this evening to members of the Board of Selectmen can be, the Conservation Commission can be made available to the public by request. Meeting business ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will invite each commission member by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold your name until your name is called. We got a little free form last time and it worked out okay, so we'll probably do that again. Commission members and speakers on the agenda, please Remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking, although I may counteract that. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. This particularly applies to Walter. And if members wish to engage in conversation with each other, please do so through me, taking care to identify yourself. Lastly, public comment portion of the agenda. To the extent that our technical capability allows, public comment will be permitted during the public comment portion of this meeting as follows. Attendees' phones and other devices will be muted unless and until they raise their hands and are recognized by me to speak. I ask each member of the public who wishes to speak to identify their name, and I will afford each speaker time to ask a question or make a brief comment. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Okay, did that. All right. So now we're on to the minutes. I gotta close that. Go back to this, share screen. Oh. All right, can people see that?
Yep.
Yep.
Good. Would you like me to read the minutes since I've been talking? Can people hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely better than before, yes.
Thanks to AirPods. Okay. So I'll go ahead and read the minutes for May 6, 2020. Meeting opened at 7:10.
I can't see the minutes. I can just see that you clicked on that you want to open the minutes.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the heads up. Let me figure this out. Thanks for letting me know that. Okay. Meeting minutes, May 6th. Oh, sorry. People can see it now?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Meeting opened at 7:10. John opened the meeting by stating that it was being recorded and explained the reasons for the meeting being held remotely on Zoom by executive order of Governor Baker due to the COVID-19. The town offices are closed to the public. Public gatherings are limited to no more than 10 people. John reviewed the rules for holding the remote meeting. A roll call attendance was taken with the following results. Attendees: myself, Steve Beard, Louise Jonda, Carolyn McDonald, Carol O'Connell, Liz DeShera, associate non-voting members, Robin Berry, co-host, other attendees. Oh, wait, and also that should reflect Holly. Right, you were here, Holly, right? Last time?
No, I had to miss it because like a family emergency. No,
Oh,
I
that's
wasn't
right.
up
Okay,
there.
forget it.
Sorry. One before.
Okay. Other attendees: Leon Leahy, co-host, Margaret Nardowitz, town administrator, attended briefly, Mary Arata, administrative assistant for the Board of Selectmen, and Stephen Herzog, representing CSX Transportation by phone. Minutes of previous meeting, minutes for April 18th, 2020 were reviewed and amended. Of note, John asked us to review Chapter 61B, Section 56, to discuss removing the words "during COVID-19" from the action. After discussion, it was agreed to delete the phrase. Please move to accept the minutes as amended. Carol seconded the motion, which passed you. Wait a minute. There we go.
Right.
By roll
That's
call
spelled
vote.
wrong, yeah.
Treasury Report, annual budget, 1,312.48, Wetlands Fund, 11,091.97, and open space land acquisition, 186,889.52. Bills and forms, notices, itemized bill from KP Law for work done on Wendler purchase with the total amount of $838. Carolyn moved that we pay KP Law the amount of $838. Carol seconded the motion, which passed unanimously by roll call vote of the members present. Mail notices, notice from Town Administrator Margaret Nardowitz that our annual budget was cut to $2,000 for fiscal year 2021 due to financial constraints. Wetland Solar Farm, 330 Rail Road enforcement order. John reported that he and Pat Donner had met at the site and found multiple concerns, including that only 10% of hydroseeding had been done, that the basins are still full of sedimentation, and that a swale on the eastern side is not working effectively. 2, John, Walter, and Pat have been monitoring the site on a regular basis and found erosion is still a serious problem. A new enforcement order needs to be issued. John displayed the enforcement order, which lists the issues that must be fixed. The enforcement order document was reviewed and finalized. The CC is requesting that the required mitigation must take place and that the site is stable before the order can be lifted. 3, the CC discussed a timetable for the work to be done and approved and set June 1st as the date. The CC wants to be 100% satisfied for everything that is done. John noted that the solar panels are in place and the batteries have been installed, but the solar array is not yet on the grid. Carolyn moved to issue the enforcement order. John seconded the motion, which passed unanimously through a roll call vote. B, 200 Crosby Road, amended order of conditions. Paul Kirschner of Stamsky and McNary Incorporated, representing the owners of 200 Crosby Road, made a request through a letter for the opinion of the commission regarding whether the proposed changes to the previous plan submitted would require an amended OC or a new notice of intent. The letters detailing the changes they want to make to the original plans were what the letter was displayed. The consensus was that an amended OC would probably suffice, but more information is needed before a decision is made. 276 West Street, wetland violation and enforcement order has been issued and copied to DEP. Appointments, 7:30, request for determination of applicability for CSX Railroad. Steve Herzog, representing CSX Transportation Incorporated, presented an RDA concerning the CSX right-of-way and whether the boundaries of the resource area are accurately delineated. He stated that the 5-year plan for controlling vegetative growth along the CSX rail line is due for renewal. The new plan, which is similar to the previous plan, describes how the wetlands will be protected. The plan requires that the wetlands be identified since no herbicides can be sprayed within 10 feet of the wetlands or bodies of water. John reported that he had consulted with Pat Gunner to compare CSX's maps to the state maps. John noted there were 2 potential vernal pools close to the rail line. Stephen H. mentioned that some towns have a third party confirm the wetland boundaries. Liz asked if Roundup would be used. Mr. Herzog replied that the RDA document does not state which herbicide is used. A separate document prepared for CSX contains a list provided by the state that for acceptable herbicides for sensitive areas. Each year, a different herbicide is used. John stated that he was comfortable with making decisions on the RDA. Carolyn stated that the members were at a disadvantage as they did not have copies of the maps, but she was comfortable making decisions since the plan follows the past procedures. Carolyn moved that we issue a negative determination of applicability. Liz seconded the motion, which passed unanimously by a roll call vote. Copies of the DOA will go to the applicants, CSX and DEP. A copy will be placed in the CC files. New business, Highland Street, Slade CR, need for baseline report. John displayed a letter from Sharon Everett, KP Law, to Margaret Nodowitz, town administrator, forwarded the letter to the Concom for comment. The letter pertains to the developer asking if he needs to prepare a baseline report because of the conservation restriction on the property. John consulted with Ashley Davies of SVT, who recommended we request a baseline report. Liz moved that we request the developer prepare a baseline report. Carol seconded the motion, which passed unanimously with a roll call vote. Geocaching, John reported that he received 2 requests for setting up geocache sites on conservation property. There are presently 20 geocaching sites already in Berlin. Presently, the state is not posting any new sites due to COVID-19. After the discussion of pros and cons on the issue, Carolyn moved that we allow the chair to sign off on the 2 requests without the need to bring the request to the commission. Liz seconded the motion, which passed unanimously with a roll call vote. I meant this. That that we just, and then for future, if it's okay, just because I don't think we necessarily need to, I mean, I can inform board, but I can also just, my suggestion was for future things, just sign off on this and inform you guys later rather than make it a separate agenda. Is that okay or not?
Okay with me.
Yep.
Fine with
It's fine
me.
because I thought that's what we talked about last time.
Link, Guide to Public Lands. John presented an email to the Concom received from Teresa Frost, who is representing University of Dayton School of Law, regarding establishing a link on the website to guide the public plans published by University of Dayton Law School of Law. Well, John Liz reported they had looked at the website and were hesitant to recommend a link until more information was known about the problem. No action was taken. Whole business tabled laying in the acquisition of Laurel property. Ashley Davies of Sunbury Valley Trustees was recognized and joined the meeting to discuss options for purchasing the property. She detailed the original plans and noted changes in the process. The original plan for purchasing the property had a contingency requirement that the purchase needed to be approved at the annual town meeting. The ATM is now postponed to June 29th due to the COVID-19 public meeting restrictions. This is causing complications in finalizing the purchase. Ashley presented several possible options for the town and SVT to work together and asked for the Concom's input on the options. She will contact the family to get their input. An executive session will be scheduled to discuss the issue in more detail. Land management, when our property update, John reported the work on the Wetland trail is moving along. Barbed wire has been removed. Carolyn will work on making signs for the trails. Vandalism on Northborough Conservation Trails, John reported that he had been notified by Mia McDonald, the conservation agent for the town of Northborough, that numerous small white pines had been recently cut down without permission on the Northborough side of Mount Pisgah and the Fish and Wildlife land in Northborough. Some road trails have also been made on the conservation lands. John asked that anyone having information about the two issues to contact him or Mia McDonald. The information has also been posted on Berlin and Northborough Facebook pages, as well as the item Facebook page. Community outreach, no discussion. Carolyn moved that we adjourn the meeting. Liz seconded the motion, which passed by roll call vote. The meeting ended at 9:96. Minutes by Louise, Jonda, and Johnny. Thoughts?
Move we accept as read.
Second,
And with the minor amendments, right?
Correct.
with amendments.
Chairman
Hello,
John,
Mary.
the town meeting is
Yes.
going to be on the 22nd, not the 29th.
Or does it? Oh,
Okay.
Right.
Thank you for
The
pointing that
vote
out.
is on the 29th.
okay. Thank you. Any other minor changes or disagreements? Okay, so we'll need a roll call vote to,
John, you want to read them again?
Yeah.
no, Steve.
Yeah, John, read them
Steve,
again?
I'll drive over to your house and twist your ear.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll have, we have a motion and a second. So all those in favor, starting with the roll call vote, myself, yay. Louise,
Yes.
Louise, okay. Carolyn,
Aye.
Yes.
Steve,
Yay.
Carol,
Aye. Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
and Liz.
Aye.
Boy, is that painful. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
All right,
Delay is
so
brutal.
thank you. It is brutal. It's brutal. It's brutal. I just can't wait till this is all over. Okay, we're gonna briefly move to the Treasurer's Report. Carol, do you want to fire away?
Yep. Wetlands, same balance, 11,091.97. Open space is 186,948.66. I think these are all the same. No, I'm sorry, there's some interest in there. Never mind. 186,948.66. These are as of April 30. I don't care about that one. Budget is 1,310.88.
$1,310.88.
And you got those forms I,
Yeah, John, the forms you sent are fine. You can sign them. I verified everything. The balances are correct. Through April.
Carol, what was the budget?
Budget is 131088. Yes. Am I
Okay,
muted?
thanks.
No. 1,000. Did you get it?
Nope.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
What? Did you?
No, yes, maybe, not undecided?
I can.
No, we're
email
good.
them.
It's all good. Wait, sign language.
Okay.
Good
Oh,
deal.
okay. Oh. I approve.
8.
It's
probably the better way to do it. Just hold up your fingers.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, we all set?
Yep.
Carolyn, we all set?
Yep.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes.
Carolyn, could you remind me, we don't need. do
Oh,
we- do we
Ashley
need
has
to
joined
vote
the
to
call
accept
as well.
report? Oh, thanks, Ashley. And Ashley, I emailed you a link for the executive session. And would somebody remind me if we have to vote
were
to approve the
starting to
treasurer's
say.
report?
Nope. We're good.
Okay, that's good. All right, a couple things before we get to the appointment. Well, I have no bills and forms. The only outstanding bill is money I paid for mailings, but I'll group that in with the next one we do and then deal with it later. Under mail and notices, Margaret sent out this mandatory monthly budget request. Essentially, I'm supposed to submit a monthly budget for a while. So I'm just gonna submit 50 for supplies and 50 for postage every month. 'Cause I don't see any major expenses coming up. That may change in the fall if there's conferences, if we're allowed to have conferences. Does that sound okay to everybody?
Okay with me.
Yep.
Just don't forget
Sounds
the
good.
dues for MACC.
You muted?
No.
Right.
Yes.
That's
Thank you.
our biggest
The dues-
yearly
Right.
expense.
When does
They're
that come
due
due?
the beginning of August. Beginning of August.
Oh, okay,
We
thanks.
voted on the last. Yep.
And it's about
Okay.
$400.
So thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big
It's
chunk.
almost
25.
500 now.
It's worth it,
425.
but it's a big chunk, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, yeah, thanks for the heads up.
Due to COVID.
But in
Carolyn
July,
doesn't
it'll
get a
be
raise,
just 50
right?
and 50, if that sounds reasonable. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Unless the only
She
thing
might
gets,
get some
do we have
beeswax.
any, what about legal?
Right. So exactly, legal fees.
Thank you for reminding me.
are what
But that's coming out of wetlands.
I don't
or
know-
open
I don't know
space.
what we
It's not
have
coming out
going.
of our budget.
right.
Good point.
This is just stuff out of the annual budget. So
You're right.
it's not coming out, so it's not, this is really just that smallest amount.
Yep. You're good.
All right. One more piece of mail just to finish up. We're going to be I got a notice from the Neshoba Board of Health about somebody putting in a well at 84 West Street, and they're supposed to notify us before they do any work. So, and you know, Walter, just keep an eye on 84 West Street for us.
Sure. Yep.
All right. Okay, so we're now going to move to the appointment, which is an NOI hearing on DEP 107-0253, 276 West Street. The speaker is Scott Morrison from Ecotech. Robin, could you promote Scott?
Yeah, he's already up as a panelist. He should be able to unmute himself.
Okay,
Are you there, Scott?
there he is.
Good evening, folks.
Hi, Scott.
Yes, can you hear me? Perfect. Good evening. Yes, we
Yeah.
filed a notice of intent. It was after an enforcement order was issued. There was some work that had occurred on the site prior to obtaining approval. We went out, delineated the wetland resource areas on the property, filed a notice of intent. In doing the evaluation and wetland delineation, it was found that a small area, about 80 square feet of wetlands, has been altered from the recent activity. We put together in the notice of intent application package. We're providing mitigation for that. So the fill will be pulled out and removed. There's also some buffer zone impacts. I provided a list of saplings and shrubs and some herbaceous seed cover that we're proposing to plant for restoration. The remainder of the work consists of installation of a gravel driveway. It's a house under construction. I think they're renovating it and they've done some work. So the plan is to install some gravel in where the former driveway is. So that concludes the proposed project. I'd be happy to answer questions if the commission has any.
I read it and Mr. Chairman, can I speak?
Yes.
Yeah, I read it. Good job on that NOI, by the way. Very detailed. Yeah, I think it seems to agree with everything I observed there, and I think what you're trying to do is the right thing to do. Period.
Mr.
Walter.
Chairman, may I speak?
Yes. Yes.
I read it as well. There are a couple of typos. One said that it was going to be submitted to the town of Carlisle. Obviously, that
Oh, I
was a
missed
cut
that
and
one.
paste thing that got missed. Yeah, and it also
Yes.
said that the house is across the street from Lancaster, the intersection of Lancaster Road. It's actually Allen Road. But other than that, I had no
I
problems
caught
with it
that
either.
one.
Yeah.
My apologies. I was scrambling trying to get this thing submitted in time, and it with everything
worries.
working
We've all done
remotely,
it.
I'm sure you all know what happens there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there any kind of timeline for the restoration?
There's nothing specific at this. There's nothing specific at this point, but there was an enforcement order issued. So, if the commission approves of the restoration work, I'd recommend that they do it as soon as possible.
Well, the property's for sale too. So they're going to probably need to get that done before they could make the sale.
I think it's
And
in
I would
everybody's best
imagine that
interest
would
to get it
motivate
done
them.
as soon as possible. Yes.
Okay. Any other comments?
I think just that we get notified once the work is completed.
Yes.
Especially considering there's a sale involved or potential sale.
I think that's completely reasonable. I had noted that we notify the commission either, email or phone prior to starting work. So I think
I
it's
saw that.
reasonable to provide, a notification that it's been completed.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, is there a reason that do we need permission to go back and look at it? Should we go back and look at it once it's completed?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Do we need any kind of erosion control? Probably not, huh?
There
I had
are,
proposed
it's
that
part of
they
the NOI.
install a straw wattle along the edge of the limit of work in the narrative. So I think that's appropriate. It's not super steep. There's not a huge area of disturbance, but I think we should provide something.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's in there, Carolyn. It's in the NOI.
Okay, I missed that. I caught Carlisle, but I missed that.
Carlisle, I just saw it. It's on the very last page.
Is this in the registry of deeds, so the sale can't go through until completed?
No. I don't. Enforcement orders aren't attached to the deed. I don't believe.
This is the NOI.
But you're right, the NOI needs, right, so we need proof of recording of the NOI.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Otherwise, it's going to happen and it's not going to get done. I mean, the sale's going to happen and it's not going to get done. So.
Right.
Yep. You want
Okay.
that record.
Any other comments? All right, so I will close the hearing on this NOI, DEP number 1070253. And then we'll have a vote to accept it, and I will write up an OOC. And I'll specify the issues about inspection at the end, and it's already in it that they'll let us know when they're going to start. Is there anything else I would need to add?
When they're going to start, or when they're going to?
They're going to inform us when they're going to start. That's already in the
But
NOI.
also when they're done.
Right, inspection at the end and
Yeah.
notification of completion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right on the road, so
And-
it's kind of easy to spy on them.
And are you gonna do the drive around again for signatures or?
Yes, but I was getting to that.
Okay, sorry.
It's all right. So, all right, so we'll close the hearing, and then we'll have a vote, and then I will prepare the OC, and I'll probably will drive around on Saturday. I'm not sure if I'll have a time that's not like intruding on people's dinners before that. I take it people are around on Saturday?
Yes.
This is the holiday weekend.
Where are you gonna go? You gotta.
Right.
All right. I need 4 signatures.
We'll get them.
Yeah.
We'll find you if nothing else.
I'll be
Pardon me?
around.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. All right. So now we'll have roll call votes to accept. the
Wait.
NOI.
Motion, who made the motion? No one seconded. We can't vote without a motion.
Well, why don't you make a motion then?
Fine. I make a motion that we approve NOI, the
The
NOI
DEP
DEP number 1070253.
Yes.
Second.
Ooh.
Oh, was
For-
that you, Liz?
was Liz.
You raised your hand.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor by roll call vote, starting with me. Aye. Carolyn?
Aye.
Walter?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Louise?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
And Carol?
Aye.
Steve, you didn't say me.
I know. You caught that. That's good. Got to change things up here and there.
All right, so we're good. Everybody's happy. Mr. Morrison, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I have your address.
Yeah, if you can send it to my address, I can have it recorded electronically. We've got the ability to do that. So I don't know, I don't foresee the registry being open anytime soon, so we can make sure that we get that recorded.
Good.
Thank you very much. So yeah, I will send it out by certified mail probably Saturday. Okay.
Perfect. I appreciate everybody's efforts.
Oh, no, thank you, Mr. Morrison. All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Just remember, we're not Carlisle.
Sorry about that. Much more fun than Carlisle.
Of course.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Okie dokie.
Walter, are you drinking a beer? I was jealous.
It was empty.
Time for a second beer. All right. So next up, wetlands, solar farm, the DEP number 107-0239, 330 Randall Road enforcement order. So the enforcement order went out and it had its desired effect. Both from the people that, installing the panels, but also ZBT or ZBT Solar, whatever they are. They're the ones that will be actually running the facility. Pat's continuing to monitor the site. There was some back and forth with concerns that they weren't moving fast enough, but that Pat's interactions also were useful. I noticed I went on a bike ride this morning, rode by the solar farm, and there's a big bucket there hauling the sedimentation out of the lower basin. So that was very good news. And there also seemed to be a truck between the panels. Maybe they're reseeding. Both Pat and I were displeased with the way that they were claiming they're doing hydroseeding. They were sort of like spraying from the exterior, which like over, because they were worried about the mud, but things have dried up now. So, and hopefully they're getting in and spraying between the panels as well, to get the grass going. So it's to prevent erosion. Once the grass is up, that'll help a lot, and they just have to fix those basins. The Hannigan Engineering is also involved, and they will be working on repairing that swale on the eastern edge, where there was basically it's a non-functioning swale. So that's the update. I can screen share some documents or just forward them to people later. Are there any concerns or questions? We need to talk more about this update.
I'm good. I'm comfortable with Pat monitoring it.
Me too.
Same.
Yep.
I'm comfortable with Pat and John monitoring it.
I was
On my
gonna
bike
go
ride.
that
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Any other comments?
John, do we have any idea when they intend to hook up to the grid, or do we know what's going on with that? Or
There is, my understanding is there's some regulatory or delays. Things are moving slowly. So, they're not like ready to plug in anyway. I made a special phone. I spoke on the phone with Mr. Hanks, the inspector, just to make sure that he understood that, like, we're pissed off and, you know, nothing should move forward except for the restoration efforts and mitigation efforts.
Okay,
So he was very kind and supportive. So.
okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, so that's that summary. Next one, this is, I'm not really sure what the status of this is. This is about 35 Randall Road. Some neighbors had reached out to Ashley, who then forwarded some concerns on to us, and Walter went over and checked there. Walter, you want to talk?
Well, a neighbor over there was concerned about the operation up there at 35, is it? 35?
That's correct.
35 Randall, a lot of equipment going on. And so I went up, looked at it, and they're nowhere near the alleged vernal pool, which I don't think is a vernal pool, but it could be. Nevertheless, they're quite a ways from there, so that isn't a problem. But in talking about what they've been doing, she indicated that she observed machinery in an area that I happen to know is a lot of wetlands in that area from previous years of hunting in there. And so I wondered if they were encroaching on wetlands again after we had that problem with them with the intermittent stream out back.
Exactly. So Walter called and left a message for Muldoon for permission to walk on this property and check it out. The next day I called and left a message. And then I wrote on a different bike ride I rode by. Some of that, you know, they have put in the septic system behind the house. So some of the work is involved with that. It's clearly that they've done that, but you can see that those gravel crossings are still there. So they haven't worked on those yet. That was from the enforcement order. So then I emailed Seth Donahue from the Charmin Dillis to ask him if he knew about the update, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet. And I can tickle him in a day or two, maybe after Memorial Day. You know, one of the neighbors was concerned because there was a road that would put it, you know, sort of an access path from the Randall Road, which might be on the track of an old cart path. I went back to the town hall. There's 2 DEP files on this property. And I looked over both of them, and there isn't detail at that point, but there's a cart path a little farther up, and so that they may have just been using the same existing cart path. It's not clear. But at any rate, so we're just trying to keep an eye on things and figure things out. But to our knowledge, there's no reason to impose an enforcement order at this point.
Oh, may I speak, John?
Oh, please.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. You
live
can,
across,
sir.
I do live across the street from him, as you know, or from that property. And it's been ongoing. Today, I saw 5 large trucks with dirt being dumped on the property pretty close to I consider, wetlands. So I have a concern as well. I've taken some pictures from what I can from my property to kind of demonstrate. I know when I originally talked to him on a personal level about why he originally put those crossings in, why he needed them, and he said it was for farm equipment, yet I have seen nothing but no farm equipment except all these construction vehicles, cranes, and there's a lot going on back there that I don't want to, you know, go into his personal space, but I do see things happening, roots being rooted right by that stream, and he dumped in a bunch more dirt today. So there's things going on there that I find questionable. So
yeah, no,
all our neighbors are concerned.
Right.
So,
I will try to get information from Seth. Maybe I'll send him a tickle tonight then after we're done. Again, my memory from the septic required depositing of dirt, that plan. So that may have been part of it.
Part of it, I agree. I concur that some of that has been put on the septic area. That's for sure. But the road that he's building, he's been filling in a lot on either side of that road. That you're right was, I believe he's linking up to an existing cart path that was there. but again, it seems like he's making some major changes to the landscape that I believe myself and other neighbors are concerned. And
it's a concern. I mean, one way or another, we're eventually going to have to get in there because, you know, there's an enforcement order that needs to be addressed. You know, those wetlands crossing have to be remediated. Now, if the work, you know, the work that will be done to mitigate those violations will require big machinery.
So Carolyn is looking to say something, I think.
Okay, let me just finish. So,
Okay.
you know, they will require big machinery to fix those two wetlands crossings. You know, they're going to need to get some bucket trucks in there and stuff like that. Just you know, I don't know if that's what they're doing, but that will require big machines.
Okay.
Carolyn?
If we can't get permission to inspect, in the past, we have hired a drone to fly over suspected violation sites. Would we want to think about doing that again?
If we have to, yeah. Let me see if I can get some information out of Seth, okay, before we do anything.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. I do recall a discussion we had with Mr. Muldoon about his accessibility, and he mentioned that at prior times people have tried to get in touch with him, and he says he's always accessible. He gave his cell phone number, and he says he's always there. I see him every day. He's around. So I'm just, you know, we're concerned, and we don't want that. I feel like the mentality that he's taking is kind of I don't appreciate it either. I care about, I respect the land. I did my due diligence when I wanted to make changes to my property. I only think it's fair that he follows the same. That's all.
I concur.
Chairman, may I speak for a moment?
Yes.
It's Ashley. I just wanted to remind everyone the importance of this property. The town holds the conservation restriction over Great Oak Farm and protects the brook there that runs along the property as well as the pond. And Sudbury Valley Trustees is in the process of finalizing the conservation restriction over the Stoddards property. So, you know, I think this one deserves a good look. I have no idea what he's doing there. I'm not, you know, I'm sure you guys are doing a great job. I just want to remind everyone of that fact. It sort of is right in the middle of two protected properties. It's a real shame that we weren't able to protect this one, but you know, it's just due diligence on this one to make sure that any resources remaining kind of are being kept up there. So.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I don't know what the law is or what authority we have, but if in fact there was equipment where the neighbor stood there on her property and pointed to where the equipment was, it was certainly within 100 feet of wetland, if not indeed in areas that might be classified as wetlands. So I don't know what our power is to go and look at that, whether we put a notice of a violation or enforcement order, or, you know, he hasn't had the courtesy to return my call. He hasn't returned your call. I think that it should be pursued. Or, I mean, the other side of the coin is inevitably, eventually, we're going to get in there and look at it anyway, because if he's trying to develop more, we're going to have to go in there and look at things.
Well, yes.
But
And we'll have to look at it with regard to the mitigation for the existing enforcement order.
Whether we can cross over the wall. What the area I'm concerned about is where that new driveway is going in, and there was a cart road along there. I mean, it was a farm cart road on the opposite side of the wall that the first violation was, and it cart road goes right into the backland, and it's a lot of wetland back in there.
Right, and that's what concerns me, that some of this dirt is being dumped there. We've heard this constantly, trucks dumping dirt for the past 3 days now. I mean, it's constant. There's a lot going on, and we're just very concerned. And we also have the permission from JT to abuts his land as well, if we needed to go on his land to do whatever. I have pictures from my property of all the equipment that has come and gone as well. So, yeah, we're just concerned.
I think we're all concerned. We need evidence that there's been a wetland violation.
Oh, I think there has been. It's just to get on the property to actually see it. That's where I don't want to cross the line. Like, I was like, well, maybe I should just let my dog loose and pretend like he got rude for me. And
I wouldn't do that.
I'm not.
You can't do that. And let me remind you, you're being recorded as well.
I know. I'm right. It's okay.
So if I have evidence that there's been a wetlands violation, then I will work. I can initiate an enforcement order.
I think I think leaving a message for him saying that, if he fails to contact us by our next meeting, that we're going to have no choice but to either report it to DEP or issue an enforcement order.
Yeah, you can't. I don't believe you can issue an enforcement order unless you have some evidence.
Well,
I have a picture of him filling in some wetlands. How's that? And it wasn't him himself. It was the person who was renting the property that abuts his. That also belongs to Muldoon. And they were filling in an intermittent stream right behind the house. I have pictures of that taken from my property.
From like right now? From like
this happened like about a few months ago, but I have them.
A few months ago. I want to focus on, I don't really know what to make of that. I really want to focus on what the work that's going on right now.
Yeah, it's not what's happening. I don't have that because it's happening kind of where I can't see, right?
But I think, another phone call and asking him to do us the courtesy of replying to our phone call. Otherwise, we're going to have to assume the worst and proceed in that direction.
Yes, and kicking it upstairs would be a good idea. You're right. I can see if I can get help, DEP's help as well. Okay. Thank you. All right, so I'll keep everybody posted. I'll update you by email before the next meeting. Okay, next agenda item, new business. Carol is retiring from the Conservation Commission. Her term ends the end of this month, and she's not going to be with us anymore, which makes me very sad.
Me too.
Yes. I just want to thank Carol for everything she's been doing. You've been terrific and wonderful, and we'll hope to see you around anyway because we're stuck with Steve.
Yeah. These Zoom meetings continue. I'll just pop in here and there and just say hi.
That would be wonderful. And also, it now is a problem because you're the treasurer, and now we don't have a treasurer, which makes me nervous. So,
maybe I can help Steve in the background. How's that?
Oh, I'm good with finances.
We'll
Put on John's credit card.
That's exactly what I'm concerned about. Anyway, we have two. Once this COVID thing's over, I'll throw you a retirement party at my house.
Great.
Cookies? Are you gonna have cookies?
Maybe. No, yeah, if you bake them.
I'll bake some.
Yeah, if you bake them.
Yeah, Erwin's still waiting for his cake.
Yeah, well, I mailed it.
We have two associate members. They are both interested in filling the position. So Robin and Holly, I think what we're going to do is we'll schedule some time for next meeting for each of you to sort of do a little presentation about your experiences and interests. And then we can hear those and make a vote. I think that, whoever gets the most votes will be on the commission. Whoever doesn't, the runner-up, will probably be on the commission. Will be on the commission for the next opening anyway. So, you know, either way, I think you're both soon enough end up on the commission.
Keep in mind, the selectmen will make the decision.
Say again? Oh, right. Yes. Thank you, Walter. Yeah.
I didn't understand.
We don't appoint anybody. We can make a recommendation, but the selectmen make these appointments.
That is absolutely correct, and thank you. Now Walter's face is frozen on my screen. It's rather frightening. Anyway, so Carol, thank you once again. And,
It's empty, Walter.
it's just root beer.
I just want to say that I appreciate the time you've all given me to work with you. I know I haven't been the most contributory as far as the wetlands information and so forth is about, but it's been a good time, and I just I'm a little bit messed up in my life right now on where I want to go and what I want to do, and so I just need to take a break from any commitments that I have and just decide where my world is going. So
okay.
But
Thank you, Carol. How
yeah,
many
you're
years
welcome.
has it been?
Oh, it's only been 3, so it hasn't been a long time. But I feel like it's been a long time since I've been with him. You know, he's been on it forever, so I feel like an antique.
Well, I've appreciated working with you.
Yeah.
And
Great.
you know, I mean, we've hung out some, but I appreciate getting to know you better, and certainly your pragmatic viewpoint on issues is always appreciated. So feel free to jump in the background.
Will do.
I enjoy working with her too, you know.
Well, that's good for you.
I can say for certain that she's kept you all on task.
Yes.
In my experience with the commission. Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, you guys have been great, and there's a lot of stuff coming up, and I don't envy some of the decisions that are going to be put in front of the commission, but I know you'll do a great job. So
Thanks, Carol.
you got it.
Thanks, Carol.
Okay, moving on. Old business A, chapter 41, section 56. This was regard to the ability that I have now to, or supposedly have to sign off on minor bills, just to get them moving. I got some feedback from June that essentially we can't just say the chair or the chair's designee. We have to actually use a name. So you guys would have to say that I will be the one designated by chapter 41, section 56.
So moved. I
Is
move
there-
that John Aney be the one to sign the bills based on chapter whatever.
41, section 56.
Did I also see that she said we can't impose a dollar limit?
Oh, I missed that part. I was just so, June.
Did we all get that email? I remember seeing it.
No, she
Oh, okay.
still spies on my,
I do. I creep on the conservation email.
Conservation.
Oh,
I gotta make sure he's, you know, in line.
yeah. Good luck.
Well,
no, she didn't. She just said that you can't appoint the chair. For one, I don't always know who that is. And the other is that you can only appoint one person to be that person without limits. Oh, without limits.
right.
I assumed when I read that it was limits on the person, not limits on the amount.
Oh,
But we can say without limits. Either way, the thing is, as per law, the whole committee is still responsible, and that is why when something is approved, it needs to be brought back to the committee at the next meeting to be discussed, seen, et cetera. So unfortunately, there are constraints to prevent me from embezzling large amounts of money so I can settle in the Caribbean.
No, yeah.
Yeah, embezzle from our huge budget.
Yeah. Yeah. I might be able to settle in, I don't know. Actually, probably. not.
Carlisle.
Yeah, Carlisle, yeah. That's a real
no,
shock.
we don't have a big enough budget for Carlisle.
Yeah. All right, so I guess the motion would be that it would be me specifically, there'd be no limit imposed. But, you know, at the next meeting, I would have to have full disclosure anyway. It's just a matter of getting paperwork moving. So that would be the motion if somebody would make it. Walter, you gonna make that?
I thought I made it.
I just amended it a little bit.
Oh, okay. I'll so move.
Okay. And then the second, Carolyn, you want to second it?
Louise did.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Now it's chapter what?
41, section 56.
41, section 56.
Taking notes.
She's taking the minutes because, well,
Yeah, because Louise bailed.
No, it was, I was hard. She needed, I was hard to hear in this, anyway. I have to do a roll call vote. So starting with me, Carolyn,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Liz,
Aye.
Steve,
Me.
excellent. Carol, you're still in it?
Yes.
And then Louise.
Aye.
All right, that's everybody, right? Okay, great. Second on old business, Walter, you got any update on Greg's Bridge?
No. You never call me, never contact me.
All right, whatever. All right, well, move on to, I have nothing under land acquisition to discuss in open meeting. Next on land management, Wendler Trail. Basically, it's done. So Carolyn's working on a couple of wonderful little signs that I'll mount on a couple of trees. And then there's still an issue of some water crossing near Lancaster Road. Now, I rode by there on my bike and there's still water there, but I think it'll be dried up by June 1st. But it's like 3 months a year where it's an issue. And I have 3 possible solutions that I've thought about and I've talked with Dan Stimpson about. You know, one, his original idea was to just clear out the culvert, but after some initial excavation, I'm not sure that's possible without heavy equipment. The second would be I suggested putting down some sort of stepping stones that if the highway department could put down some large stones or slabs that we could just walk on over the water. The problems with that is you still want to make sure that emergency vehicles could access the area because they may want to do that. And also, if they don't have any slabs running around, they're not going to be able to buy them right now because of the emergency thing. So they may not have slabs. The third option,
wait a minute, slabs like solid
concrete slab, like a piece of concrete, or a rock, a flat rock. I mean, it's just stepping stones.
You want to put those in a wetland?
Rocks as a stepping stone, yeah.
Right, so,
Well, it's not really a wetland. What it is, it's a failed culvert. So if you go down there, there's an old farm bridge with a culvert underneath. It's an old stone bridge. And when it dries, it's actually kind of, it's interesting, but the culvert's plugged up. And I started to try to dig it out a little bit, but it's pretty plugged. Once it dries out, I could take a second look. That had been Dan's original suggestion.
That's down at the end towards Lancaster Road, correct?
That is, yes, correct.
All right.
Yeah. So it's really an access road. The third option is for me just to build one of those bog bridges and put it to the side. I could fix it to a pine there and another tree so it won't wash away. And then there'd still be room for emergency vehicles. I also intend to ask the highway department to put in like some posts and a chain across the end, just so, because sometimes pickups drive up there, which, they're not supposed to. People can still hunt up there, but they're going to have to drag their kill out, and they can't drive their pickup to pick the kill up. So anyway, so that's the update. We can't have a grand opening because of the COVID thing. Next under land management, rogue trail on Oberg CR. So one of Mia McDonald's friends confronted a couple of mountain bikers that were, admitted that they were making a jump off of near where the overlook is. So Walter went up there and found it, found the little trail, the little sneaky trail that they had put in. And then, was it last Friday or the Friday before that?
I think it was the Friday before.
Yeah, Walter, the chief of police and I went up there, and Walter had gone up earlier. He cleaned up the overlook, so now it's a really pretty, there's no obstruction with the overlook. You can see Boston quite nice. Walter did a great job, and he made some obstructions on their trail, again, doing a very nice job. And we went down to the jump, and then the chief and I, Tom and I, pulled the jump apart. And then Mia had made some signs, and so I got her, she sent me the file. I mocked it up so it said Berlin on it. I emailed it to the chief of police. He laminated them, and then at some point recently, I went up there and posted them. I had some old, that plastic board that doesn't rot, and posted a few of them in that, just around that area, including right where the jump is. So the one at the bottom, one at the top where the map is, one where the top of the trail is, and one at the jump.
What do they say?
Conservation area,
Ish.
Conservation area, it's illegal to make, to cut vegetation, make road trails, violators are prosecuted, stuff like that. I can email people to sign. I didn't make it easily available for tonight's meeting, but so that'll probably do it. Usually the light of day gets these kids to stop what they're doing. But if anybody else sees something, just let us know. And I want to thank Walter for his efforts up there.
Thank you, Walter.
I think Ashley wants to say something.
Ashley?
Yeah, sort of related. We had an email earlier this week from a neighbor to to Great Oak Farm, and somebody that's new to town. He said that, and I'm not sure exactly where this is, but he said it would be great if somebody kept the west side of the Highland Street, the path there, mowed. I guess the trail hasn't been mowed, or I thought that the farmer there, the farmhand that was assisting the Bensons, was supposed to keep that mowed, but I'm not sure who's sort of responsible there. But he mentioned that, said there was a downed tree heading out of the parking area from Sawyer Hill Road that's blocking the trail. And then he said, and it would be so great if you all allowed mountain biking on more trails.
Absolutely not.
Right. That was the only related part, but.
Yeah, well, the mountain biking is not allowed on that trail. But you can tell them that there's plenty of places where you can go mountain biking, and I'll show them around if you'd like.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I can connect you.
Yeah.
I can connect you too.
You might want to tell him to invite all of his friends from all over the state to join us.
Drive by Walter's house.
with air horns, yeah. Great.
It isn't a mountain bike, it's the people riding them that you're gonna.
People like me, yeah. Ashley,
Yep.
Back to earth here. Kristen O'Brien also emailed me today.
Okay. Oh, okay. Good. Okay. She said she
and she did. And the thing is that Dan's on vacation this week.
Mm-hmm.
One of those poor people that was supposed to be on a national park this week and is doing a staycation. I know. I felt really bad for him.
Yeah.
So when he gets back, he'll probably contact the guy about the mowing. And Walter,
Okay.
if you want to, if you or I can, or anybody, you know, wants to go up there and take down that tree, that'd be fun. Or just cut up that tree, that'd be fine. So the tree's on,
Whereabouts, where, the location of it is, where?
He said as you're heading out of the parking area from Sawyer Hill Road, you know, toward the fields, it's somewhere in that area. I
Okay.
guess not too far from the parking area.
Yeah, and then there's another down tree on the Highland side, the exit out of there. There's a tree down.
Okay.
Notice.
oh, so there's two down trees there.
Yeah, so there's one on, I think, near either side of that trail.
You know, when trees are down and they're laying on the ground and you can step over them easily, you know, if people can't do that, they shouldn't be out hiking in the woods. But if it's up a couple of feet, that's one thing. But I always thought it was good for the ATVs and dirt bikers to keep them out of there. But anyway,
Yeah, well, the mountain bikers just jump over.
I know it.
Build a ramp.
We'll put barbed wire up above them.
That will work.
Recorded, remember?
Okay, so that's that. Community outreach, we had nothing. So now, what is there any other issues? Did I miss anything?
I have a question.
Yes.
And it just came up yesterday. On the trail near me, around Brewers Brook, there, I looked, I didn't quite see it, but there, I guess there was a patch of burnt area. And,
I
you know,
saw that a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
you know about that? And somebody in the community said, well, maybe it was a planned burn. I said, I'm on conservation. I never heard of a planned burn. So just wanted to bring it up, and I don't know if we're supposed to do anything about it. The concerned neighbor, I think, was going to call the non-emergency fire department line just to say that she had seen it.
Forget it.
Carolyn, what do you know about it?
I was walking Brewer Brook Mother's Day morning, and we saw it, and it actually smelled fairly recent at that point. So, you know, it probably some kids messing around, and it either got out of hand or it went out on its own.
Where is it exactly?
On the, so what's that? The north side of Brewer Brook. The trail that goes right around the pond.
Yes.
So on the north side of the pond.
North
Just-
end, yeah.
After you cross the stream, but before you get to the field.
How large is it? How large is the area?
Hundreds, 75 feet by 75 feet. I mean, it's not
Forget
small, but not giant.
Yeah.
So, is this near Berlin Meadows? Because that's where the north, that's the north.
No,
end.
I mean, it's right on the trail.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll just have to keep an eye on it and see if there's any more activity. It was good that you notified the fire department. That was good.
Good. Thanks.
Um,
That's it.
Yeah, there's just a lot of people with not much to do right now. So that's the problem.
Not really thinking either.
No. Okay. So before we end, a couple of things. It's just so Scott Morrison had also emailed me evidence of a butter notification, and that the legal notice was posted in the Worcester Telegram Gazette. I should have mentioned that when we started, but just didn't. So my point being, everything was fine. He did everything correctly, okay, except confuse us with Carlisle and confuse Allen Road with Lancaster. Yeah. Okay. So I don't have anything else, but I do have to read this statement before we quit. Okay. Does anybody else have anything else?
When are we doing the executive session?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I emailed everybody. Everybody should have gotten a link for the executive session. Did everybody get a link?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you too, Ashley, did you check your email? Ashley?
Sorry, I thought you could see me. Yes, I have it.
Oh, sorry. Yes. No, I have something else up on my screen because I have to read this
Got it.
thingy. Mary said I have to read this thingy, so I'm going to read this thing. Okay. So executive session. The board is now asked for a roll call vote to agree to enter executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, exemption number 6, which allows executive session to deliberate to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. I, John Aney, Chairman, have so determined that this discussion over the commission's interest in a particular property does qualify for executive session cover. I also note that the commission will return to open session following executive session only to adjourn the meeting. No, I don't think we're going to do it that way. We're going to adjourn now and then enter executive session. A roll call vote is needed to enter executive session. Can each member confirm when I call your name whether you agree we will enter executive session? John Aney, aye. Steve Beard?
I do have to leave at 9.
Yes, understood. We'll be done by then. Carol O'Connell?
Aye.
Walter Bickford?
Aye.
Carolyn McDonald?
Aye.
Elizabeth DeShiera?
Aye.
That was pretty good.
No, it wasn't.
Louise Janda?
Aye.
I think I'm changing the pronunciation of your name, Liz. That's the way it is. Okay. So we're going to adjourn. Therefore, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the regular meeting.
So
I'll
moved.
have to do a roll call vote of that too because this is just so much fun.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor, John Aney, aye. Louise?
Aye.
Carolyn?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Steve?
Me.
Liz?
Aye.
And things got jumbled. Did I miss? Walter,
Walter.
there he is.
Yeah. Aye.